YouTube, Mr. Jabroni is back. Now it has been a very long time since I've made a wrestling review, but you know what? The wrestling world's been quiet and I haven't been watching, to be honest with you. But I saw a promo about, what, 3-4 weeks ago now, the Chris Jericho promos. Well, now that we know it's Chris Jericho promos. And it got me interested again, because someone told me, hey, look at this promo, who do you think it is? And I started watching it, and it looked pretty dark, and I thought, oh, maybe it's Undertaker. Then people started saying, no, you know, it might be Chris Jericho. But I thought otherwise, you know, and it had me wondering. I had no idea who it was, and it had me interested. So I started watching again. Watched a couple of Raws, being pretty good. You know, nothing amazing, nothing to blow me out of the water, but I've said this before, I've said this years ago, you know, when you stop watching wrestling and you stop going on the dirt sheets and the internet websites, you know, the one for the little geeks, when you stop going on them, it becomes more interesting because, alright, you know it's not real anymore. Yeah, I mean, you're never going to get that feel, you know, when you were a kid, when you thought it was real, you're never going to get that feel back, but you can get that feel of not knowing what the hell's going to happen back. And I've got that back. You know, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. And as I said, I've watched a few Raws. Kane. You know, we saw the promos, he actually showed his mask, you knew it was Kane. But when Kane came down that ramp, I felt fucking 8 years old again. It was crazy. You know, it was, I mean, Kane, you know, I mean, ever since he's been maskless, from about 2005 onwards, he has been boring as fuck, you know, there's nothing there, but it just seems different now. It seems like all that's been erased, and it's just 2002 again, you know, Kane's there, and I'm not going to lie, I slept with my light on that night because Kane shat me up. And that it is absolutely awesome. This past Raw, trying to drag Zack Ryder under the ring, then poof, you know, it was crazy. And I love it. I absolutely love Kane again. But yeah, anyway, this video is not about Kane. It's not about my return. It's about the return of the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the king of the world, Chris Jericho. One of the best professional wrestlers ever to step foot in that ring. And I don't say that lightly, alright? Sure, you've got people who are more technically sound, just about, but Jericho has more entertainment in his little finger than the whole of any fucking indie fed out there's roster combined. You know, Jericho is Shawn Michaels. He is the Shawn Michaels of my generation. You know, I say that because, I mean, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, he was more of a 90s star. I didn't start watching wrestling till 99. Of course, you know, he already had his back injury since then. So, although I know that HBK is great, we didn't get, I mean, I haven't seen his best years. I mean, I've seen him on tapes, but, you know, he wasn't my generation. Jericho was my generation. And Jericho's always been a favourite of mine. But I'm not going to lie, I didn't really like him when he came back in, what was it, 07. Yeah, I mean, I liked him, of course, but it just, I didn't get into the gimmick, you know. Maybe it was because it was a heel thing. You know, when he was a face, when he was saying all the crazy shit that he said before, loved it. But then when he turned heel, it was just, not boring, but, you know, the promos that he kept cutting. What was that thing that he kept saying every single week? I forgot what it was. That's it. You hypocrites and sycophants. You know, when he kept saying that every single week, it got a bit tiring. But Jericho is back, and I'm hoping, I'm praying that they give him the mic and they just say, do all that crazy shit you used to do back in 2000, you know. I mean, who can forget when he came out and he was cutting that promo with Stephanie McMahon? You know, you talk about let their bodies hit the floor, but Stephanie, let the boobies hit the floor. You know, all that stuff with Rhino getting gored through the bloody SmackDown screen. Oh man, it just brought all that back, and I'm glad Jericho is back. Punk is on fire. I've become a John Cena fan, as you know. I mean, John Cena and Punk. John Cena has gained a lot of respect from me because of the thing with Punk. But Punk is absolutely amazing. The promos he's cutting right now, absolutely fantastic. I can't wait to see what happens at WrestleMania this year. It's looking awesome. Royal Rumble, I haven't ordered a pay-per-view since WrestleMania. I'm going to order the Royal Rumble. You can bet anything on it. I am definitely going to order. Forgot the word then. And I might actually do a review of it. My first review of an event since God knows when. But anyway, this is my return to YouTube, as it is, because I've stopped making other videos of all other thoughts. This is my first video in a month, so this is my return to YouTube. But this is my return to the wrestling world. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. Part of the reason, a little part of the reason I stopped watching wrestling was because people, you know, my personal friends, I mean, since I stopped watching before, I thought they'd give me a little bit more respect. You know, I mean, they weren't afraid that I was going to come out and say something stupid about wrestling in front of, I don't know, other people. You know, when they introduced me to someone new. You know, I mean, before, when I was a huge wrestling geek, you know, I can tell that they was embarrassed every time I mentioned, oh yeah, I watched Raw last night, something like that. You know, so a little part of me stopped watching it to fit in. You know, just so they didn't look at me as, oh, you think all that's real, you know, all that kind of hillbilly crap. But you know what? I don't give a flying fuck. As always, as of now, I don't give a flying fuck what anyone thinks about me. You know what? I like wrestling, I'm gonna watch it. You know what? If I like bloody Winnie the Pooh, I'll go watch it. I don't like Winnie the Pooh. But you know what? If I was a homosexual and I had homosexual tendencies towards bloody that fat bastard Winnie the Pooh, I would fap every single night to him. Alright? I don't give a crap what you think, what I think, what anyone thinks. I'm going to do whatever I want. And as long as it's not a crime, then hey, everybody's happy. Anyway, I've been Mr. Jabroni. Thank you for having me.